Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the weekly press briefing of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers, where we aim to provide journalists with an update on the latest developments at the court and the opportunity to ask questions. Witnesses continue to be heard this week in the trial of Hashim Thaçi and co-accused. On Monday, the 17th witness called by the prosecution gave their testimony. According to the summary read out by the prosecution, the protected witness was an LDK member who was arrested together with another person and was threatened and beaten. Following the completion of this testimony, on Tuesday, Nuhi Bituci, a journalist who covered the Kosovo War, began his testimony, which continued yesterday and today. In the same case, on 31st May, the appeals panel dismissed an appeal by Mr. Krasniqi and Mr. Selimi, challenging the admissibility of statements they made as witnesses before the ICTY and the Special Prosecution of Kosovo. The appeals panel observed that the jurisprudence of international courts and tribunals is consistent with the trial panel's finding that the admission of a co-accused statement does not infringe upon an accused's fair trial rights, as long as the probative value of the statement is not outweighed by any potential prejudicial effect of its admission. The appeals panel found that the main issue is how much weight, if any, should be given to such statements, and that this determination can only be made by the trial panel at the end of the proceedings in light of all the relevant evidence before it. Also on 31st May, the trial panel denied a request by the Thaçi defense to prevent a witness from testifying about Mr. Thaçi's alleged personal participation in the arrest and/or mistreatment of certain identifiable individuals, as this allegation is not part of the prosecution's case. The trial panel recalled its previous finding that it would disregard this allegation insofar as it pertains to Mr. Thaçi's alleged personal participation, and stressed that evidence which may relate to an allegation not charged in the indictment is admissible if it is also relevant to other allegations which are in the indictment or to facts at issue in the proceedings. In the same case, on 3rd of June, the trial panel rejected a request by Mr. Krasniqi to appeal a decision admitting into evidence the statement of a witness who cannot appear in court. The witness in their statement identified Mr. Krasniqi at a crime site relevant to the case of the prosecution. The panel found that the accused were and will be able to cross-examine at least 6 other witnesses that give evidence about the same circumstances, and decided that the defense failed to establish that this issue would significantly affect the fair and expeditious conduct of proceedings or the outcome of the trial. In the Januzzi et al. Case on 5th June, the pretrial judge granted the request by the Bakhtiari defense for an extension of the deadline by which the defense teams should file their pretrial briefs, extending the time until 20th June 2024. The pretrial judge also set a new tentative date of 5th July 2024 for transmitting the case to the trial panel. On 5th June, the pretrial judge ordered in separate decisions the continued detention of Sabit Januzzi and Haji Shala. He found that for both accused, the risk of flight, the risk of obstructing the progress of proceedings, as well as the risk of committing further crimes continued to exist, and that no additional reasonable conditions imposed by the pretrial judge are available to adequately mitigate the existing risks. In the same case on 4th June, the registrar notified the pretrial judge of the conditional approval of Mr. John Cabon as co-counsel to Haji Shala. Also on 4th June, the registrar informed the pretrial judge of the conditional assignment of Mr. Ian Edwards as counsel to Mr. Isni Kilai, following a request for legal aid under the Specialist Chamber's legal aid regulations. On 31st May, the Specialist Chambers of the Constitutional Court delivered its judgment on a referral made by Nassim Haradinaj, who had alleged violations of his individual rights and freedoms in relation to the criminal proceedings against him before the Kosovo Specialist Chambers. In its judgment, the Constitutional Chamber declared part of his complaints inadmissible and rejected the remainder, finding that there had been no violation of the Constitution of the Republic of Kosovo or the European Convention for the Protection of Human Rights and Fundamental Freedoms. The judgment can be found on the KSC website. On 6th of June, Judge Nicolas Guillou informed President Trendafilova of his resignation from the roster of international judges. Judge Guillou resigned from the roster to take up his duties as a judge of the International Criminal Court. On the same day, Judge Marjorie Marcelot was appointed to the roster of judges and took her solemn oath. The President issued decisions replacing Judge Guillou with Judge Marjorie Marcelot as pretrial judge in the case of Januzzi et al. And as single judge in relation to ongoing investigations. That was all from me. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to respond.